Hi, and thank you for joining us today at Book a Day for Little Learners. Today we're going to read Grumpy Badger's Christmas. This is the badger. He looks kind of grumpy, doesn't he? His arms folded over and his mouth is kind of in a frown. And we'll look and see we'll find out who these other animals are. This is a story by Paul Bright and Jane Chapman. Let's read Grumpy Badger's Christmas. Grumpy Badger's Christmas. It was almost Christmas, and the forest was a flurry of activities. The animals were bustling here and there, putting up the Christmas tree, wrapping presents, making tasty cakes and cookies, while the young ones scampered about, squeaking with excitement. Are you excited when it's almost Christmas time? Lots of people get excited about that holiday. Everybody was looking forward to Christmas. Well, almost everybody. Do you see who maybe is not very excited about Christmas? I think our friend Mr. Badger over here, he doesn't look very happy, does he? Does not look very happy. Grumpy looked out of his window and scowled. "Merry Christmas!" shouted Squirrel. "Merry Christmas?" Bah! He shouted back. "What piffle! I am a sensible creature, and I sleep all through the cold winter." Now I'm going to bed until the spring, and if anyone wakes me, I shall be very, very grumpy. And with that, he pulled his window shut with a clunk. How do you think Badger speaking like that to his friends, how do you think that made the friends feel? Do you think they felt like he cared about them or that he was being kind to them? I don't think so. I don't think he was being very nice to them. Grumpy Badger knew he would be hungry when he woke, so he checked his pantry. There were pies and pastries and hams and cheeses, crispy crackers, jars of fruit, and sticky sweet jams. That should do, he said. And then he filled his hot water bottle and climbed into bed. He had just closed his eyes when there was a knock at the door. Who do you think it is? Do you think it's someone he knows? Do you think it's a friend of his? Oh, look at his face. His arms are folded up again. It was Mole. "Merry Christmas, Mr. Badger," he said timidly. "I'm sorry to bother you. I've been trying to put lights on the Christmas tree, but it's just too big. Could I please borrow your ladder?" So when it says that Mole spoke timidly, it means he was a little bit afraid. He wasn't sure how Mr. Badger would behave towards him, whether he would be nice or grumpy. So he was a little bit shaky. He was unsure what kind of reception he would get. "Oh, Christmas tree," spluttered Grumpy Badger. "Piffle and double piffle. Christmas is for sleeping, and that's what I'm trying to do." And he closed the door with a bang. How do you think that made Mr. Mole feel? I would guess he didn't feel very good about that. Do you think the same thing, or do you have a different thought? "Oh," huffed Grumpy Badger, climbing into bed. "Borrow my ladder indeed. All I want is a bit of peace and quiet, so leave me alone." He peeked under his bed where he'd put more food for springtime, candies and cornbread and cherry cupcakes. Oh, do you see all that food under there? That's a lot of food. And then he cuddled deep into his big, warm comforter. He was just starting to snore when there was another knock at the door. do you think? Do you think it's going to be someone else that knows Badger? I think it's going to be someone he knows. Do you see who it is? This time, it was Squirrel. Hello, Badger, he said cheerily. I've brought you a Christmas present. Christmas present, snorted Grumpy Badger. Piffle and triple piffle. I don't like presents and I don't like Christmas. All I want is a little piece. And he shut the door with a crash. Look, he was very loud, wasn't he? He certainly didn't treat Squirrel very nicely. He's trying to go to sleep and he's being very grumpy, isn't he, friends? Okay, there he is in bed. Now, Grumpy Badger was really grumpy. To cheer himself up, he thought about the bottles and bottles of homemade lemonade he had in the cellar, and then he lay down and closed his eyes, but he couldn't sleep. His head felt a little chilly. Suddenly, there was a loud banging at the door. Do you think that's going to be a big animal that there is banging at the door? Let's turn the page and find out. Oh, what is it now? Grumpy Badger sighed. He was about as tired and grumpy as a badger can be. Oh, Badger, panted Rabbit, help! It's poor Mole. He's stuck at the top of the Christmas tree. Come quickly. Piffle! Shouted Grumpy Badger, and triple piffle on top of that. Why can't everyone just leave me alone? And he slammed the door so hard that the whole house shook. Slam! Oh, I think he has lost his temper, my friends. Friends, look at this. The book turns. I love that. Book turns. Look how big the page is. At long last, Grumpy Badger fell asleep, but soon he was tossing and turning and wriggling and squirming. He was dreaming of Mole dangling by one tiny paw from the top of an enormous Christmas tree. Mole was trembling. He was about to fall. Oh, friends, I'm so nervous for Mole. I don't want him to get hurt. No! No! Screamed Grumpy Badger, sitting bolt upright and suddenly wide awake. What have I done? He jumped out of bed, grabbed his ladder, and dashed into the street. Friends, what do you think Badger's going to do? So he woke up. He's getting his ladder. What is he going to do? You think he's going to go and help Mr. Mole? He's going to help get him down off that tree. All right, let's see if your prediction is correct. Grumpy Badger raced up to the Christmas tree. Hold on, Mole, he cried. Did you see? Oh, poor Mole, just hold on a little bit longer. He scrambled up the ladder, scooped Mole gently into his arms, and then helped him down to the ground. Oh, yay. Friends, we're so happy about that, aren't we? I'm sorry I left you hanging, mumbled Grumpy Badger. I suppose I've been a bit of a grump. That's okay, said Squirrel, and he gave Badger back his Christmas present, a soft, fluffy nightcap. I've been so grouchy, said Grumpy Badger. What can I do to make things better? And then he knew. All of his friends were very kind to him and accepting, weren't they? Badger's Christmas party was the best ever. There were pies and pastries, cheeses and hams, and sticky sweet jams, cookies and cupcakes, and bottles of homemade lemonade. They jiggled and jived and joked and laughed late into the night. Look at that fabulous party everybody's enjoying. Do you have parties? Are they fun? Do you go to maybe a birthday party or a holiday party? Merry Christmas, everybody, Badger cried. And if you don't all come to my party next year, I shall be very grumpy indeed. Badger changed his mind, didn't he? He went from being very, very grumpy to much happier by the end of the story. Do you think that made Badger feel better? I do too. I think it made him feel better. I think by the end of the story, he was happy. What do you think Badger's going to do next? We know he's going to have a party next year, but after this party, what do you think he'll do? Maybe he'll clean up and go to bed. Maybe he'll continue having a nice, enjoyable party with his friends. Maybe he'll clean up and stay up for a few more hours. Friends, I hope you enjoyed our story. This was Grumpy Badger's Christmas, and I hope that you have no grumpy people in your life this Christmas, just people who love you and want to celebrate the season with you. Please like my video and subscribe for more stories. There is a new one that is available every single day. I'll see you tomorrow.